Hey my cute bunnies, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, and listen, I almost did not film this one. I sat in front of my camera for like 40 minutes, deleted 3 different intros, and stared at my ring light like the ring light was going to give me permission. Because what I'm about to lay out for y'all in the next however many minutes, baby, it is going to connect dots that the rest of these gossip pages are too scared to connect. And before we even start, everything in this commentary is alleged, allegedly, hypothetically, and according to a little birdie that may or may not exist, okay? Cover that legally, cover that spiritually, cover that emotionally, because we going in. So here's the situation. We got Cardi out here screaming on Stefon Diggs in the middle of Maryland like she paying the rent on that whole zip code. We got Stefon's baby mama KJ dragging him on her own page like it was a Tuesday, because apparently it was a Tuesday, she told us herself. We got Drake finally walking off the UMG plantation after dropping 3 albums in a row, and the second the man's contract dries, Pitchfork drops a 4.8 on Iceman like the album personally slapped their editor-in-chief. We got fans suddenly catching strikes for posting Drake clips. We got Lizzo every time she breathed. Somehow Kendrick's name is on the receipt. We got Latto announcing her album like it's the second coming in her own city, not even RSVPing. And everybody talking about it like these are 6 separate stories. 6 separate dramas. 6 unrelated little messes. Baby, 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 baby. They are not separate. They are not unrelated. They are the same story wearing 6 different wigs. And once I show you the wig cap, you are not going to be able to unsee it. That's why I almost didn't post this. Because once you see it, you owe the algorithm a fight. And I am tired of paying that bill by myself. Let me show y'all what I mean. Let me put this on the imaginary Summer Jam screen because we're going to walk through this slow, and then we're going to walk through it fast. And by the end, you're going to be like, oh. So sit down, grab your little snack, grab your edges because they about to be snatched. Hit that subscribe button before you forget, and let's get into it. We have to start with Drake, because Drake is the keystone. Pull Drake out the wall, and the whole industry ceiling comes down. And I think somebody upstairs in a corner office knows that. So Drake finishes his deal. 3 albums, contract complete. The man literally did his homework, turned it in, got his hall pass. Congrats, sir. Beautiful. Now in any other industry, when an employee finishes their contract, you throw a little farewell pizza party. You sign the card, you take the awkward group photo, you let them keep the company's sweatshirt, and you move on with your life. That's the normal corporate thing. That is how grown businesses behave. But this is not a grown business. This is the music industry. And what does the music industry do the second one of its biggest assets walks off the lot fully paid up? Let me tell you what it does. It starts choking the exit. Suddenly fans, regular fans with 800 followers and a profile picture of their cat, are getting copyright strikes for posting 15 seconds of a song they legally streamed 20 minutes earlier. Suddenly old fan edits that have been sitting on the timeline collecting dust since the care package era are getting yanked down. Suddenly the promo machine that is supposed to support the catalog is acting like the catalog is contraband. Suddenly the algorithm forgets how to recommend the man. Make it make sense. And here's where the Pitchfork piece slides in like the side dish nobody ordered. The same week the strikes start hitting, here comes a 4.8. 4.8. For Iceman. Now y'all, I am not telling you the album is a masterpiece. I'm not telling you it's a flop either. I'm telling you that this same publication gave Pink Friday 2 a 3.7. Gave Chris Brown's last project a 1.8. Gave anybody the industry has a problem with a score that reads less like a review and more like a sentence handed down in a courtroom. I don't have time for that pattern. The pattern has been showing up in pumps for 3 years now. The pattern has a name tag. The pattern is sitting at the executive table with a glass of Pinot. Now somebody in the comments is already typing, well, Pitchfork is independent. Well, Pitchfork has integrity. Sweetie, sweetheart, baby angel. Pitchfork was bought by Condé Nast and then folded into GQ in 2024, and the editorial pipeline. The people deciding who gets the 4.8 and who gets the 8.5. Those decisions don't float in from a cloud of pure music appreciation. They sit at lunches. They sit at dinners. They sit on email threads with the same publicists who sit on email threads with the same labels. The fingerprint is everywhere if you look. And right now the fingerprint is squeezing the windpipe of the one rapper who just walked. Okay, so we got Drake getting choked at the exit. Hold that thought. Pin that to the corkboard. Red string. Move on. Now let's slide over to Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, because this is where I lose my whole entire mind. Cardi gets caught on camera, screaming at this man in his hometown of Maryland. Full Cardi voice, full Cardi neck, full Cardi finger, the whole symphony. The internet eats it. 48 hours later, this man is at his daughter's birthday party with his other baby mama smiling like nothing ever happened. And then Cardi, Instead of disappearing into a sound bath and a glass of red wine like a woman with options, gets on her own Instagram and posts the most receiving yacht list with Stefon's name on it, like she's filling out a hall pass for him. And then KJ, the baby mama Stefon literally has tattooed on his body. KJ gets on her page and goes, "It was probably a Tuesday. I don't know. I just lost all respect for bro." And the entire timeline went, "Oh," because that wasn't a vague post. That was a coordinates drop. That was a longitude and a latitude. Now most people are looking at this and going, Cardi is dumb. Cardi is desperate. Cardi got that BBL and lost her common sense in the suction tube. And listen, I have my own opinions about that procedure. I have my own opinions about going to Colombia for body work. I have my own opinions about the fact that BBLs do not keep a man, never have kept a man, never will keep a man, and the living proof is sitting in her own mirror because she had one through the Offset era, and that man still cheated like cheating was a paid promotional partnership. Okay, so the BBL theory of love retention, dead on arrival, hand me the toe tag. We are not doing that. And before the comments come from me, no, I am not body shaming. I am pointing out that surgically rearranging your silhouette has never once in recorded human history prevented a man with cheating tendencies from cheating. Cheating is a character trait. Character traits don't respond to liposuction. You cannot lipo-morality into a man. They have tried. It does not work. Next, but here is what nobody is asking. Why is Cardi being so loud right now? Why is Cardi screaming on this man in public, when public Cardi from 3 years ago would have taken that argument to a parking lot, an Uber, a Notes app voice memo, a private text thread, a screaming pillow, anywhere but Maryland Main Street? Why is the timing of every single Cardi Stefon spotting lining up so neatly with the calendar of a man who is allegedly trying to launch a clothing line, a brand, a quote-unquote performative pivot away from football? Because if you map out Stefon's Instagram wipe, his cryptic posts about authenticity, his sudden warm and fuzzy family rollout, where his mama is suddenly Cardi's bestie, and his mama's bestie is posting birthday thank yous to Cardi in poetic paragraphs, every single beat lines up with a launch window. Every single one. And here is the part that's going to ruin some of y'all's Sunday. Stefon needs a softer second act. Football body got an expiration date. He is not getting younger. The hits compound. Knees do not negotiate. The brain only takes so many concussions before the post-game interview starts sounding like a hostage video. So the brand needs an off-ramp before the body force is won. So who is the cheat code? Who is the woman in America right now whose magnetic field is so strong that just being photographed next to her bumps you're curating 6 points in a weekend? It's Cardi. Cardi is the cheat code. Cardi is the spotlight you can sublet by the hour. And Stefon is currently a tenant. He is not on the lease. He is subletting. Now Cardi, with respect, with love, with the soft hand of a friend who has watched this exact movie before, Cardi has a pattern of mistaking proximity for love. When she was with Offset, Offset's family treated her like the help. Offset's sister dragged her on the timeline like she was beefing with the girl who took her parking spot. Offset's mother gave her cold shoulder energy. Offset himself did the public love bombing. But the public love bombing was always conveniently timed to whatever album he was about to drop or whatever scandal he was about to outrun. Cardi has been emotionally trained to read public posting as commitment. Posting is not commitment. Posting is a press release. Press releases can be retracted by Monday morning. Ask any PR girl in Manhattan with a Tuesday morning hangover. So now here comes Stefon's family, the warmest welcome wagon you have ever seen. Mama Diggs hugging Cardi. Mama Diggs' bestie writing love letters to Cardi in the caption section. Family group hugs. Family birthday tags. Family this, family that. Family barbecue. Family yacht. Family Instagram tag fest. And Cardi, who never got this from the Migos camp, is melting because finally somebody's mother is acting like she's worthy of the daughter-in-law title. And that is exactly the lever a calculating man pulls when he wants to keep his spotlight sublet active. That is exactly it. I'm not going to call Stefon stupid because stupid people don't choreograph this well. Stupid is the costume. Calculating is what's under the costume. Stupid is what he wants the timeline to see. Calculating is what he is. But sis, the receipts on this man are loud. Court testimony already showed up with Chef Milagro saying he slept with her, with the assistant, with the hairdresser, with the neighborhood, with the zip code, with the entire Maryland congressional district, with the area code, with the second cousin once removed. A man who treats women like a buffet does not suddenly develop monogamous taste buds because a Grammy winner walked into the restaurant. He is going to keep eating. The only question is whether you find out from a court document, an Instagram comment, a clinic phone call, a TMZ tip line, or a Reddit thread at 3 in the morning. And none of those endings are giving girl boss energy. None of them. Okay, so Cardi Stefon. Pin that. Red string from Cardi to Stefon. Red string from Stefon to launch calendar. Red string from launch calendar to the publicity machine. Red string from the publicity machine to a corner office in Midtown Manhattan. Now watch this connection. Who benefits when the biggest female rapper in the country is publicly destabilized? When her name is in the streets for the wrong reasons. When her every cycle of news is about a man and not about her catalog, not about her tour numbers, not about her actual music business, not about her makeup line, not about her actual ownership structure. Think about it. Who benefits? Because Cardi is also signed under the same major label umbrella structure that I'm about to walk y'all into. And labels do not love it when their female stars start operating like full-blown businesswomen who don't need them. Labels love a woman who is publicly destabilized just enough to keep needing the machine to clean up her image. A woman in chaos is a woman who keeps signing. A woman who is calm, focused, and pulling her own strings. That woman starts asking questions. That woman starts auditing. That woman starts noticing that her masters are not in her name. That woman starts noticing that the publishing splits are a magic trick. That woman starts calling lawyers who are not on the label's preferred vendor list. I'm not saying anybody set Cardi up. I am saying that nobody at the corner office is exactly rushing to her hotel room with a robe and a bottle of water and a friendly suggestion to step away from this man either. Chaos is a tax-deductible business expense in this industry. Write that down. Tape it to your fridge. Read it before every contract you sign for the rest of your life. Now let me pause for a second and do something most of these gossip channels never do, which is actually walk you through how the machine moves in real time. Because if I just tell you the machine exists and I don't show you the choreography, then I'm doing the same lazy podcast bit that everybody else is doing, and you came here for the real one, not the lazy one. So picture this. It's Monday morning. There's a label executive in a corner office in Midtown Manhattan. The view is mid. The plan is fake. The coffee is from the espresso machine that the building manager won't fix because it's a write-off either way. This person has a Bloomberg terminal on one screen and an Excel sheet on the other. And on that Excel sheet is every single one of their artists, ranked by quarterly revenue projection, with little color codes next to their names. Green is healthy. Yellow is unstable. Red is a problem. Black is the eject button. Drake at the start of this fiscal quarter was green. Drake at the end of his contract turns yellow, because yellow is what every walking asset turns into the moment you can no longer fully control them. Drake's name on that Excel sheet changes colors sometime between when his lawyer sent the termination notice and when his publicist sent the press release. And the second that color changes, an automated workflow kicks off. Strategic memos, press relationship calls, critical review timing. The whole machine rotates 1 degree to the left and starts grinding in his direction. Cardi sits in green with an asterisk. Asterisk because they need her to stay in chaos. Asterisk because the moment she gets too healthy, too focused, too unbothered, the asterisk turns into a question mark, and the question mark eventually turns into yellow. The machine cannot have Cardi yellow. So the machine subtly, casually, almost gently rewards the chaos. Every viral moment Cardi has gets boosted internally. Every clear-headed business move she makes gets buried under a softer rollout. You will not see the spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet exists. It always exists. Lizzo, prestige column, color code blue. Blue is the column for the artists who add legitimacy to the label's overall brand. Blue artists are not the cash cows. Blue artists are the ones the label puts in the annual report next to a photograph that says, "Look how culturally relevant we are." Blue artists are mascots. Mascots get treated well. Mascots also do not get to leave. Try walking out of a stadium in a mascot costume sometime. The security will treat that costume like it belongs to them, because legally and emotionally it does. Latto sits in red, sliding toward black. Red means the budget has already been quietly cut. Red means the press list is shorter than it used to be. Red means the next single does not get the same playlist push. Red is the column you find out you were in by looking at your last royalty statement and realizing the marketing line item is half of what it used to be. Big Mama is Latto's last chance to climb back up to yellow. If Big Mama undersells, the next contract conversation she has is going to look very different from the last one. This is not me being dramatic. This is not me being conspiratorial. This is the literal mathematical workflow of a publicly traded entertainment company that has fiduciary duty to its shareholders. They are not allowed to be sentimental. The law forbids it. Sentimental costs money. So they don't. Now let's slide over to Lizzo. Excuse me, Lizzo gets the streams. I keep saying Lizzo because the algorithm is going to scream at me. But y'all know I'm talking about a certain 3 billion stream queen whose name rhymes with prelude and who is being attached to a certain other Compton-bred rapper at the hip in every single accolade conversation. 3 billion streams on all the stars. Beautiful number. Beautiful achievement. Beautiful for a black woman in this country, because black women do not get the accolade carpet rolled out for them on a normal Tuesday. So I'm clapping. I'm clapping with both hands. I'm clapping with the lotion still on. I am clapping. But can we sit at this kitchen table for a second and have an adult conversation? Every single Lizzo win has Kendrick's name attached to it. All the stars, that's Kendrick. The Super Bowl stage, that's Kendrick. The GNX bump in 2024, that's Kendrick. The Grand Summer Tour numbers, packaged with Kendrick. The festival headliner conversations, packaged with Kendrick. Every chart reentry, every late-night performance slot, every magazine spread that features her also features a paragraph about him. When does this woman get to chart on her own oxygen? When does the accolade tag say her name, alone, with no co-pilot, no co-sign, no co-feature, no co-anything, no asterisk, no parenthetical, no footnote? Because I want her to win. I want her to win clean. I want the accolade to be hers in the way that her SOS album was hers, where the only collaborator on the chart was her own discipline. SOS was a moment. SOS was a fortress. SOS did not need a cosign to crack the ceiling. SOS broke the ceiling with one hand and held its own coffee with the other. But what we have been getting since SOS is a woman whose name keeps getting threaded through someone else's bigger moment. And the industry loves that. The industry loves a black female star who is great enough to be put on the stage, but never quite given the stage alone. Because if you ever give her the stage alone, she might walk off it with her own LLC, her own masters, her own touring company, her own merch operation, her own producer network, her own publishing, her own everything, and the machine loses another asset. It's the same playbook, different costume, same script, different font. Okay now Latto Big Mama dropping April 29th. Bless her. I want everybody who works to eat. I do. But the math is not mateing on this rollout, and we have to be honest about why. Latto's entire commercial arc was juiced by a beef. The beef ended. The juice evaporated. The body of work underneath the juice was never strong enough to hold the platform up on its own. And now we're watching her cycle through every viral lever in the toolbox. Pregnancy announcement, album announcement, aesthetic reset, cover art reveal, feature drop, snippet leak, listening party, press run, magazine cover, TikTok dance challenge, influencer push, genius video, and the needle is barely twitching. She might do 30-something thousand first week. She might bubble under the hot 100 for the 17th time. And the comments section is going to call it a snub. It's not a snub. It's an audit. The audience is auditing. And here is what I want every female artist in the comments to write on her bathroom mirror in lip liner. You cannot build a career on someone else's spotlight. You cannot. The spotlight you borrow has to be returned with interest, and the interest is your relevance. When Nicki gave you the platform, you were popping. When Nicki took the platform back, you were standing in your driveway with the porch light off and the Wi-Fi disconnected. Build your own porch light. Build your own house. Build your own grid. Stop renting. Renting ends in eviction. Owning ends in equity. Okay, Cardi, Stefon, Drake, UMG, Pitchfork, Lizzo, Latto. 6 wigs. Same head. Same lace. Same glue. Same wig shop. And here is the layer underneath the layer. The layer most people never get to. Because most people stop at, oh, the label is evil. Okay, the label has a fiduciary structure that incentivizes treating artists like assets. Fine, that's layer 1. Most podcasts stop there. We are not most podcasts. Layer 2 is the publication ecosystem. Pitchfork, owned by Condé Nast, which is connected to GQ, Vogue, Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, Architectural Digest, Bon Appetit, and a string of other titles that all sit at the same boardroom table. The same boardroom table that has lunch meetings with the same label executives who have lunch meetings with the same touring agencies, who have lunch meetings with the same streaming service curators, who have lunch meetings with the same award show committees, who have lunch meetings with the same Grammy voting body subcommittees. It is one social club. It has maybe 400 people in it. They all went to the same 5 schools. They all summer in the same 3 places. They all have each other's personal cell numbers. And they decide everything you think you decided yourself. Layer 3 is the algorithm. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, TikTok, Instagram Reels. Every single one of those platforms has a curation team, and every single one of those curation teams takes meetings, and every single one of those meetings shapes which artists end up on which playlist on which day during which campaign. The illusion that the algorithm is a neutral piece of math is the most expensive lie they sell. The algorithm is a human being in a hoodie with a quarterly performance review and a boss who has a boss. Layer 4 is the financial press. Billboard, Rolling Stone, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, music business worldwide. They are not adversaries of the labels. They depend on the labels for access. Access is the currency. Access dictates coverage. Coverage dictates narrative. Narrative dictates which careers get the favorable spin and which careers get the article that starts with a single damning quote from an unnamed industry source. Unnamed industry sources are not random. Unnamed industry sources are calls returned by publicists working on label retainer. Layer 5 is us, the audience, the unpaid choir, the free distribution network, the unpaid analytics team, the unpaid focus group. We watch the videos. We post the takes. We argue in the comment sections. We make the memes. We do the entire grassroots cultural labor, and then we wonder why the same 5 names keep getting the same 5 outcomes year after year. The reason is that we are the engine, but we are running on someone else's gasoline. Okay, that was heavy. Let me lighten up for 30 seconds because I do not want this video to feel like a lecture. I want it to feel like a phone call from your sharpest friend. Real quick aside, because this is the kind of moment where my comments section is going to fill up with people asking, well, Lisa, what about so-and-so? What about this artist over here? What about my favorite who I think is independent? Listen, there are independent artists, real ones. There are also a lot of artists who look independent on the outside, but whose distribution is being run by a major label's owned and operated indie subsidiary, and you don't find out until you read the small print on their album's Wikipedia page. That is the trap. The major labels learned about 10 years ago that the word independent sells. So they bought a bunch of small labels, kept the small label names on the covers, and quietly absorbed the bookkeeping into the same Excel sheet I described 5 minutes ago. If your favorite indie label was acquired in the last decade, congratulations, your favorite indie artist is now a major label artist wearing an indie wig. How do you tell the difference? Look at the masters. Look at the distribution. Look at the publishing. If a real human being who is the artist owns those 3 things, the artist is independent. If a company owns those 3 things and licenses them back to the artist is not independent, no matter what the album cover says. Now back to the main thread, because I do not want to lose y'all. Now let me give you the connective tissue. Let me tell you what the wig cap is. Because here's the thing I've been circling for the last 20 minutes, and now I'm going to land the plane. The major label machine in 2026 is in panic mode. Artists are figuring out that streaming pays them in coins while the labels eat in steaks. Distribution deals are cheaper than ever. Independent infrastructure is more accessible than it has been in the entire history of the recorded music business. A mid-tier artist with a smart manager and a halfway decent lawyer can now keep 80% of their own catalog and walk away from a label deal without losing their kneecaps. That terrifies the suits. That terrifies them more than a bad quarter. That terrifies them more than a SoundCloud rapper going platinum independent. That terrifies them more than a Spotify CEO press release. Because if everybody figures out they can leave, the whole pyramid scheme collapses, and the suits go from boardroom to bus stop in one fiscal quarter. So what does a terrified machine do? It tightens the grip on the artists it still has under contract. It applies extra friction to the artists who walked out. It uses every soft power lever it has left. Critical reviews, algorithmic suppression, strategic copyright strikes, award show snubs, coordinated press cycles, cover story timing, festival slot politics, sync licensing slow walks, streaming playlist demotions, radio rotation freezes, late night booking ghosting, Grammy committee quiet talk, magazine cover passes. Every single lever is available, and they are pulling them all at once like a Vegas slot machine addict at 4 in the morning. Drake walks. The strikes start. The Pitchfork score lands. The narrative shifts from greatest rapper of his generation to washed has been who lost to Kendrick. Coincidence? Sweet baby angel. There is no coincidence in a billion-dollar industry. There is timing, and timing is the most expensive thing money buys. Coincidence is the lie they sell you, so you do not pull on the string. Pull on the string, bunny. Pull on the string until it unspools. Cardi is still inside the machine. So Cardi gets to chase a man around Maryland while her actual business empire sits in a holding pattern. The longer she's distracted, the longer she's leveraged. Make her need the PR firm. Make her need the cleanup crew. Make her need the brand rebuild team. Every cleanup is another invoice. Every invoice is another reason she can't walk. Every distraction is another contract clause she has not had time to renegotiate. Every Maryland screaming match is another headline that pushes her business news to page 3. Lizzo is the prestige asset. So Lizzo gets the prestige slots, the Super Bowl, the streaming milestones, but always in a frame that requires the machine's choreography. She doesn't get to be the headliner. She gets to be the co-headliner. She doesn't get to be the moment. She gets to be the moment adjacent. And as long as her wins are choreographed with somebody else, the choreographer keeps the choreography credit. The choreographer is the one in the boardroom. The choreographer never has to step on stage. The choreographer just signs the check and collects the publishing. Latto is the experiment that didn't take. The lab is going to send her one more shot, Big Mama, and if Big Mama doesn't pop, the funding goes to the next girl in the pipeline. There is always a next girl in the pipeline. There's a girl in Atlanta right now being groomed to be the next slot. They've already got her TikToks queued up. They've already got her wardrobe stylist booked. They've already got her cover story photographer on retainer. The machine does not mourn. The machine reallocates. And the most twisted part, the part that made me almost not film this, is that we, the fans, the bloggers, the gossip channels, we are the cleanup crew for free. We argue about Cardi's BBL while the machine quietly rolls a contract revision past her desk. We rank Drake's album on Pitchfork scale while Pitchfork's parent company quietly counts the engagement. We debate whether Lizzo deserves it solo while the touring agency quietly locks in the next Kendrick pairing. We laugh at Latto while the A&R department quietly cuts her budget by 20% for the next cycle. We do the labor. They keep the receipts. We do the emotional damage. They keep the equity. We type with our thumbs. They sign with their pens. That is the connect the dots. That is the wig cap. That is what nobody else is willing to put on camera, because the second you put it on camera, you become a problem for the machine, and the machine has more lawyers than I have hair follicles. And I have a lot of hair follicles. So we are talking a lot of lawyers. So when I tell you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe, baby, I am not just saying it because the algorithm rewards me. I'm saying it because we have to start using this platform like a counter platform. Every time you share a video like this one, you are forcing the machine to spend money to suppress it. Every time you comment, you are signaling to the algorithm that this is the conversation worth having. Every time you subscribe, you are building a household that does not depend on the New York Times entertainment section telling you what's important. That is the only leverage we have. That is the entire leverage. We are the leverage. The phone in your hand is the leverage. Use it like one. Now let me circle back to Cardi for a second because I do not want to leave her on the bench. Cardi, if you are watching, and somewhere on a private burner account you might be, here is the only thing I want to leave you with. You do not have to beg a man. You do not have to perform contentment for the timeline. You do not have to post a yacht list. You do not have to fight a woman in a parking lot to prove the relationship is real. A man who wants you is going to make it loud, make it consistent, and make it free of receipts that say cheating. The fact that you have to manage this man's image means you are doing his job and your job, and you are not getting paid for either one. Fire him. Sit down. Drink water. Call your accountant. Call your lawyer. Audit your masters. Buy your publishing back. Open a brokerage account. Read a balance sheet. And next time, choose a man who shows up on the random Tuesday, not the launch Tuesday. The random Tuesday man is the husband. The launch Tuesday man is the tenant. Tenants get evicted. Husbands get to stay. And Drake, sweetie, congratulations. Welcome to freedom. Now hire the lawyers. Hire the publicists. Build the indie infrastructure. Buy the warehouse. Buy the studio. Buy the distribution channel. Buy your name back from every contract that ever had a clause in it that wasn't yours. You can survive being independent. You can survive the strikes. You can survive the Pitchfork score. You can survive the algorithm being weird for a minute. You survive the entire Kendrick cycle, the meme cycle, the streaming cycle, the diss track cycle, the Super Bowl shutout, the daughter narrative, and you are still the most streamed rapper on the planet. The machine cannot kill you. It can only inconvenience you. Stay inconvenienced and stay free. We out here. We writing. Even when the algorithm pretends we are not. Lizzo, ma'am. The next accolade has to be solo. Block the Kendrick pairing for one cycle. I'm not saying the man is doing anything to you. He's not. He's a king in his own right, and I am not pitting two black artists against each other for the algorithm, but you need a pure data point. You need one chart-topping, award-winning, milestone-cracking moment where your name is the only name on the press release. Demand it. Walk away from any booking that won't give it to you. Walk away from any cover story that needs his name in the headline. SOS proved you can do it. Prove it again. The girls need to see it. The little girls in their bedrooms with the karaoke microphone need to see it. The big girls in their cubicles need to see it. The grandmas at the church barbecue need to see it. Latto, sis, take a year off. I'm not being mean. I'm being correct. Take a calendar year off. Reset the brand. Drop the gimmicks. Drop the announcements. Come back with 3 songs that are undeniable. Not viral. Undeniable. Viral fades. Undeniable lasts. The body of work is what gets you the second chapter. The gimmicks are what get you the bubbling under credit. Go in the studio with one producer you trust, one engineer you trust, and one A&R person who doesn't have a Soho House membership, and make a record like your career depends on it, because it does. Big Mama might not save you, but the album after Big Mama still can. Stop running. Build. And to everybody in the comments, here is your assignment for the week. Pick one independent artist you love. One, not famous, just one you love. Buy their music directly from their Bandcamp, their website, their merch table, wherever. Buy a piece of merch. Share their song with 3 people. Tag them in a story. That is the counter machine, in miniature, executed in your own kitchen, with your own thumb, on your own bedtime. Multiply that by every viewer of this channel, and we have built a parallel ecosystem in a weekend. That is the only thing the suits actually fear. Not your hate, not your boycott, not your tweet, not your think piece. Your dollar going somewhere else. That is the entire fear. That is the only fear. Everything else they can survive. The dollar going somewhere else, they cannot. Before I wrap, one more piece, because somebody in the comments deserves the exact playbook and not just the theory. Here is the 5-step audit every artist in this game needs to run on themselves this quarter. Step 1, pull your contract, the actual paper, and find the recoupment clause, because that is the line that tells you whether you are working for yourself or working off a debt. Step 2, find out who legally owns your masters as of today, this morning, not 3 years ago, today, because masters move and nobody calls you when they do. Step 3, audit your publishing splits, because that is the line where the magic trick lives, and the magic trick is usually a friend of the label that you never met. Step 4, check your distribution percentage line by line, including the digital aggregator clauses, because the aggregator clause is where the small print gets violent. Step 5, sit with a lawyer who does not eat lunch with anybody from your label, because the lawyer who eats lunch with your label is not your lawyer. That lawyer is your label's lawyer in a different blazer. If you do those 5 steps in the next 30 days, you find out whether you are an artist with a career or a vendor with a leash. Most of y'all are not going to like the answer. That is exactly why you need to do it anyway. Okay, I have been talking forever. My voice is going. My lip gloss is depleted. My ring light is judging me. My cat just walked across the desk like the cat pays the bills. Let me wrap. The 6 stories are one story. The one story is the machine. The machine is not a person, it's a posture. The posture is, keep them confused, keep them fighting each other, keep them clicking on each other's drama, and keep them broke enough to need the next deal. Drake walked. The machine punished him. Cardi is inside. The machine is distracting her. Lizzo is prestige. The machine is choreographing her. Latto was an experiment. The machine is winding her down. And we, the audience, are the unpaid PR department, doing the machine's work in our free time, on our lunch breaks, during our commutes, on our airplanes, in our bathtubs, in our beds, in our dreams. So next time you see a headline that looks like just gossip, ask yourself who benefits from you being mad about it. Ask yourself whose schedule the timing serves. Ask yourself whose stock price moves when this artist is destabilized and whose stock price moves when that one is celebrated. Ask yourself whose Q4 earnings call needs a distraction. Ask yourself whose tour merch order needs a viral moment. Once you start watching the timing, you cannot unsee it. And once you cannot unsee it, you become a problem for the machine, which is exactly what I want every single one of you to be by the end of this video. A problem. A polite problem. A subscribed problem. But a problem. Be a problem. Be informed. Be loud. Be subscribed. Be the comment that makes the publicist screenshot the post and send it to her boss with the subject line, "We have a situation." Be the share that makes the cover story get pulled. Be the like that makes the algorithm rethink. Be the unfollow that makes the influencer wake up. Be the dollar that goes to the independent. Be the assignment. Be the audit. Be the receipt. Be the wig cap. Be the red string. Be the corkboard. Be the whole investigation. If this video made you feel a little bit angry, a little bit awake, a little bit like you needed to call your group chat right now, do me one favor and hit that like button before you leave. Drop your most ungovernable take in the comments. Share it with the friend who thinks Pitchfork is independent journalism. Share it with the friend who keeps defending the BBL. Share it with the friend who still thinks Drake lost. Share it with the friend who keeps streaming the same major label playlist instead of the local artist's Bandcamp. Subscribe so the algorithm gets the memo that we are doing this kind of work now. Turn on the bell because the bell makes them nervous. And I will see you in the next one, bunnies. Stay safe, stay free, stay watching the timing, stay reading the contracts before you sign them, stay funny, stay petty, stay paid. It's been your girl. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. P.S. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you are exactly the kind of viewer this channel was built for, and the algorithm has no idea what to do with you, which is exactly why we have to keep showing up for each other. Tell one friend. That's the whole assignment. One friend. We grow this household one stubborn share at a time. Love you, bunnies. Mean it from the bottom of my heart and the top of my receipts.